Today we are going to discuss conditional statements and iteration so we can gain a better understanding of how to control how our programs execute. First we will discuss conditional statements, followed by a discussion on iteration and the three types of loops, and then we'll wrap up with a summary. Conditional statements follow the format if, then, else, where the else portion is optional. The if statement is dependent on a condition which must evaluate to a Boolean value. For this sentence, if it is raining, then I will wear my raincoat, otherwise I will pack my umbrella just in case. Let's see how this can be written in code. First we must set up a couple of variables so we can actually write our if statement. We'll set our bool value of raining to true since we're in Seattle. We'll also assume that we won't pack an umbrella or wear a raincoat at first, so we'll set pack umbrella and wear raincoat to false. Now to our actual if statement. We say if raining. In the then portion of the statement we set wear raincoat to true and pack umbrella to false. In the else portion of the statement we set wear raincoat to false and pack umbrella to true. This corresponds to the otherwise part of our sentence. Now on to iteration. Iteration is the repetition of a sequence of instructions in a computer program until a result is achieved. There are three types of loops. The first we will discuss is the for loop. As you can see, we have an initializer where we set int I equal to 0. Then we have the loop test, where we check to see if I is less than 10. And finally we have the counting expression, which increments I by 1. During execution, the initializer is the first part of the loop that is run. In this case, we will set I equal to 0. The loop test will be run following the initializer at the beginning of each iteration of the loop. The counting expression will be run at the end of each iteration of the loop. For loops are good for situations when you have a counting type of operation and you have a definite number of iterations that you want to perform. While loops are a little different than for loops. In this case, we initialize our variable j equals 0 outside of our while loop. This could just as easily be a Boolean value that we test within our while loop. In this case, our while loop test is a test to see if j is less than 10. At the end of our loop body, we have our counting expression, j++, which will increment the value of j by 1. This while loop performs the exact same operation as the for loop that we just discussed. Do while loops are almost exactly the same as while loops except for one key component. Do while loops will run once before checking the loop test. Notice here that the loop test is at the end of the loop and will be run after the loop body has been run once. So what have we discussed? Conditional statements are used to do things under certain circumstances. This is so we could have branching logic and our programs will not do the exact same thing every time. Loops are used for repeated operations, and we discussed three different types of loops: for loops, while loops, and do while loops. For loops are best for counting, while loops are best for running until a condition is met, and do while loops are exactly the same as while loops, except that they're run once before checking the condition. And finally, all the sample loops that we went over will run exactly 10 times.